Hello, myself Sunil Ramesha. Here basically we are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. In city creation, basically we are talking about the one topic that is vitamins data basically. So vitamins data, one of the person told that basically, one of the government told that basically, भाई हमको उस एरिया का डिसीजन लेना है. We have to take certain decision of that particular area. Assume that basically that is cities basically. City. Assume that is one city, or basically assume that basically that is one area basically. So they basically government basically what done basically, they have basically created the few datas basically, that is that this decision basically has to taken, and these all are basically the negative points, positive points, each and every culture things basically, each and every things basically, that is basically the one of the company basically in Pune basically, they have the data basically, what data basically they dumps into the vitamins A, vitamin B, what data basically they dumps basically, what data basically they dumps in the vitamin basically. So that data basically, that culture basically, the each and everything basically, that software company basically have that basically, that basically is in Pune basically, that is Genesis company basically, that is one software company basically, that I will disclose basically where is that company, just a minute. And this connects to the army group that basically we have already discussed, just a minute. Genesis Vittal Private Limited basically. So this is where that company basically, ये है वो कंपनी बेसिकली. See basically, it's very dangerous company basically. It's very dangerous company basically. One of the person told that yes basically. So this is that company basically who have the vitamins data basically, because they dumps, for example, that area has to finish, or basically that area has to do some modification. That this company basically takes the decision basically, and these companies basically are connected with the governments basically directly basically. So they have told that basically, Genesis company, you come to India basically and give some basically suggestion to the India basically. So they basically started giving the suggestion basically, that basically this data is supposed to be added, this data is supposed to be added, that data is supposed to be added, add this data basically, add those data basically. After that basically vitamins data are created, that are the human needs basically, that are the vitamins data basically are created, vitamin data are created, this all vitamins basically are created, and then basically they takes the decision basically, that is this basically creation happens basically, and in this basically the future basically are created basically, that basically are the future human needs basically. City creation is equal to future creation basically, that is the human needs. So like this basically they creates oil, petrol, apple, peru, then basically they take creates the orange, each and everything basically they creates basically, then they basically give through the public basically. See basically how mall industry is also working basically, how the mall industries are also basically working, how the mall industries are also basically working, how the mall, when you access this website na basically, they basically send some data to the person basically who basically access that data, so that basically this can be tracked basically, that basically this person basically has accessed the data basically. So after that basically they are going to get something also basically. So one of the person told that basically, yes basically this vitamin data are basically taking the decision basically, that the public basically is going to take the decision. So like this basically they takes the decision basically, that created the orange, created the apple, created the humans, and data basically is given by this company basically. They basically that software company basically, that are basically in USA basically, they basically was invited by the Pune basically, that is the this group basically invited there, because that is this group basically, NCP basically, Nationalist Congress Party, they basically invited that particular person because their basically data are basically there basically. So you can just see basically how dangerous, and he basically said that basically our symbol is this clock basically, 10 10 10 10 is the clock basically, and basically these groups are basically telling that basically we are basically taking the decisions basically, that public basically is supposed to finish that area, or basically is not supposed to finish that area basically, and this data basically are given by this company basically. So you can just imagine basically how dangerous this company is basically. One of the person told that yes basically you are correct basically, this company is very dangerous basically. And the people basically working in this basically the developer basically and the project manager basically don't know basically. The directors basically who are handling this company basically, they know basically that which data has to take, and this basically data are these companies are connected with the governments directly basically, and this basically companies are connected with the set of governments basically. This decide basically that this data you can add. For example, they told that basically in this basically so in this basically vitamin basically, that is in this vitamin basically, in this vitamin basically, or basically you can say in this vitamin, in this vitamin or in this vitamin basically, they have to add basically that area basically, that data basically. That data is what that city basically is supposed to finish, or basically it's supposed to modify basically. So you can just imagine basically this group basically takes how dangerous decisions basically, and how secure basically this city is basically, because Pune is the most secure city basically you can say basically, and that is basically in between the mountain basically, that also you see basically. So one of the person told that yes basically Pune basically previously it was only basically mountain basically. After that basically they dig the mountain and then basically they created the cities basically. Hinjawadi basically see around basically Hinjawadi basically it's only basically the mountain basically, but it's the biggest software infotech park basically of India basically. So these all groups basically are connected with this all group basically. And here basically the main thing is you can just can't imagine basically the time basically machine is ongoing basically. Shell basically shipping companies is also basically there in Pune basically. See basically this is that company basically. See basically here basically this company is also basically there. See basically, and Pune basically is entire Pune is basically in between the mountain basically. That also you see basically. So see basically they are telling that basically 5 basically is the number basically. So see basically. And they are telling that basically this many basically are the share market, and this everything basically exists also basically. See basically. So one of the person told that yes basically, yeah, basically world basically has reached to very dangerous level basically. And this company basically takes the decision basically that area is supposed to finish, or basically that area is not supposed to finish, and they basically have very big power basically. So Genesis Vital Vittal basically we can say Vittal Process Private Limited basically. So this is that company basically. See the symbol also you see basically. Sun basically, but sun exists basically. Then it will no, yeah, sun does not exist basically. That is just basically the data basically. So you can just imagine that data basically. Today the world is basically digital world basically, and see this company basically, that is basically in USA basically, and they basically have how powerful data basically, and they are basically controlling India data basically. They are controlling India basically. So you can just imagine. See basically the army groups also you see basically. See basically the army group also see basically. See basically. So one of the person told that yes basically. Yeah. See this is the party basically, which basically are ruling that software company basically. This company basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this thing basically, that is vitamins data basically. Which company is supposed to end and which company is not supposed to end with. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this basically, that is vitamins basically, which is already created and the data is basically given by that company basically just now basically. So basically that is